What's my name? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 9th episode of the Super Fun Podcast. We got an awesome crew today. You're familiar with the names if you've been hanging out with us for a little while. How are you doing, Ezio?
Well, it's about 9 hours in the sun. How you doing, Groot?
I've been in 9 hours in my room. What's cracking, Toast?
I've had a pretty chill day, just sitting around playing some video games. AP, what up, fam?
I'm offended. You play video games? What is wrong with you? God.
Triggered.
What,
Triggered.
what's a video game?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what. I've been sick the last 9 days. I'm starting to get better, feeling a bit better, and that's nice. If you're listening to this and you listen to the last podcast, I edited out every voice crack that happened from my voice being congested. So thank you for listening. You missed out on that, but we're back. It's episode 9, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Starting with my own personal obsession of recent times, which is Destiny. So
I thought you were going to say Dark Souls.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But my in terms of chronology, my main obsession in the last year, what's been happening in Destiny?
Quite a few things, actually. Right now, Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris being canceled because of a heavy ammo glitch.
People are exploiting a glitch in the game?
What are you going to do?
What will the world ever do?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Hey, I can't go a week without my Destiny fix. Oh!
I can't go on without Trials of Osiris.
Okay,
Even though I don't play it.
you guys are being kind of douchebags. I love Trials, and that's the only reason I've been playing Destiny lately. To be fair, for Trials to be canceled, that's like a lot of the reason I've been logging
I
on
feel
to
like that's
Destiny.
a lot of
no.
the reason
More
a
Dark
lot of
Souls.
people are playing Destiny at this point, to be honest.
Yeah,
Is PvP.
yeah.
So,
I feel like that's one of the main things that
Hopefully they
draws
get it
people back
fixed.
into the game.
yeah.
So it's been canceled. What exactly is the glitch?
The glitch is it's kind of complicated but simple at the same time. You need a primary weapon and a secondary.
Don't explain the glitch. Do not give people the power to execute it that don't know it leading up. Let's just talk about the effects.
There's like 20 videos online right now explaining it.
Shh. What's the final product of this glitch?
Would you say it's popular enough to where I can get a lot of views on YouTube to make me famous?
Yeah, exactly. That's what
People
are doing.
don't.
Plus-
people don't do that. They don't exploit that at all.
I'm exploiting it anyway because it's gonna get patched, and they canceled freaking Trials and Iron Banner for it anyway. You need 2 weapons that have Cocoon, and you need to have a Year 1 rocket launcher with the Clown cartridge perk. That's what you need. And if you execute it right, and I'm not going to explain that part of it because I don't even remember it that well. If you execute it right, that rocket launcher will repeatedly recharge ammo.
Oh, there goes making my video because I don't have one of those. Dang it.
Yep. You need a Year 1 rocket... Yeah, I'm going to repeat on that. You need a Year 1 rocket launcher with the Clown cartridge perk.
Excuse me while I go cry myself to sleep.
I know you're so disappointed. You've been playing so much Destiny, just begging for an opportunity to steamroll Trials.
I have been playing Destiny 24 hours straight because I'm awesome like that. I have not touched Destiny in almost 2.5 weeks.
That's a weird way of saying Dying Light.
Dying Light has consumed my life and the light that goes into my room. So.
And we're gonna get back to that definitely, because there's a lot there, but we'll come back.
Foreshadow.
So, Groot, I actually haven't I've heard a lot about it, and I'm a huge fan of the Planet Destiny podcast and Crucible Radio, so I've listened to them discuss this issue, but I haven't actually done it, nor do I intend to, and I have not actually physically looked up a video of it. But Groot, if I understand correctly, you have. What is the potential power of this glitch?
So basically, when you go into Trials and it's heavy round, you can literally have endless amounts of heavy. I'm not too sure if it carries over.
You don't. It doesn't. It doesn't have to be heavy round.
Oh, that's right. It
It's,
doesn't have to be heavy round. That's what it is. So,
yeah, you could
um,
you could just walk into the freaking Cosmodrome and do this. You don't even need heavy ammo.
so let's put it this way. It's basically just endless amounts of people just showering rockets everywhere, and it's just complete obliteration and destruction. And quite honestly, I'd wish they'd make a mayhem version of
Mayhem
Iron
Iron
Banner, just so that would happen, and I could my life fantasies could be complete because I've always wanted a mayhem Iron Banner.
That's actually
I
really
would go
funny you said
back.
that.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I
Ezio.
would. I would take a break from Dark Souls to go back to Destiny if it was Mayhem Iron Banner.
The funny thing is, what you just described is actually a proposed solution from the dudes at Planet Destiny. Dudes and dames, I'm sorry, at Planet Destiny. Like that was one of the potential solutions. Is like if they made Iron Banner mayhem, that would negate the efficiency of this tactic. And it doesn't solve Trials of Osiris, but it does solve Iron Banner, which
Mayhem Trials. There you go. I just fixed it for you.
That sounds
Okay.
terrifying.
every streamer that plays Destiny just face palmed. And even if they're not listening, dude, just like they're in their room, like, why did I just face palm? I don't know, but it felt right.
Don't deny it. It would be funny.
Well, I think quite honestly, I mean, we've seen obviously worse glitches than this. I'm sure Bungie has discovered some that are worse than this that they've silently patched that nobody knew about. But I mean, this one's quite interesting. What I really want to know is who's the guy that went into a match and decided to pull out these two freaking guns and just be like, "Hey, wow, whoa, dude, look at my rocket ammo." Oh,
I
and
want
then
to
try
know.
and get it.
Yeah, I want to know what type of person would be like. Okay, I have a clown cartridge rocket launcher. I'm gonna empty out 2 cocoon weapons and then switch to the rocket launcher.
Do people like literally like just sit there all day trying to look for this stuff just so they can become popular on YouTube, or to just by accident?
Yeah, I think someone has to sweatshop where they try to find exploits and glitches. I think that's just what it is.
It's got to be. I mean, like, it's impressive that people figure this stuff out. I mean, it's just, I mean, any glitch that we see in games, like, it's just, if it's out there,
I mean,
it's just,
yeah.
it's just like, I don't understand how you do this. Please don't, like, I want to know your ways, but I don't want to actually, like, do it myself, you know?
Yeah, I mean the Hunter Night Stalker one with Quiver. That one's one you could probably easily find on accident because it was you fire off 2 of the shots and then you pause and then you have your super fallback. That's kind of something like it could be accident. You could use the Quiver, put 2 shots, not find anyone, then go to your menu to switch something out, then come back and it's like, hey, I got super still.
Yeah.
What? That's an easy one. But this one's like so out there. You need 2 cocoon weapons and a year 1 rocket launcher with a specific perk.
It's
That's
really
like out
not.
there.
It's really not that out there. In fact, I can't speak to the reality of the situation where this got discovered. Groot, whether it's somebody, there are some pretty obsessive people in this community that are doing a lot of digging. The whole, if you want evidence of this, just do some research on the whole mystery of the 6th vault of glass chest.
Oh, I
my
already know
gosh.
it. I already know it. I already know it. Those, they still haven't figured anything out.
That's yeah. It's because somebody from Bungie, I think it might have been Irk or Deej, somebody made a sarcastic comment or a joking comment about there being another hidden chest in Vault of Glass, but people took it and ran with it and assumed it was true and really like they've been searching it. There's probably still people vehemently searching the Vault of Glass.
Luke Smith made a joke about that in one of the vidocs for Taken King. He was like, "Is there a blah blah blah? Is there another chest hidden in the Vault of Glass? You'll never know."
Like,
Watch it be like
I remember that.
Watch it only be accessible to the devs. Like you have to like find a way underneath the map, and it's just sitting there. And then there's just a wall in front of it that just says, "Ha ha! Here's the 6th chest," and you open it, and nothing happens. Nothing comes out of it, except a bunch of confetti blowing out of it.
No, it just says go to www.activision.com/buy me now.
Oh my gosh.
Microtransactions incoming. More.
$40 for the 6th Vault of Glass chest.
All right, I'm pulling it back. To finish
Okay.
my thought, the thing about this is like with the cocoon weapons, there's two very prominent PvP weapons that are cocoon weapons, and they may not be the ultimate meta. Like you got the Smiter Moraine, that's the pulse rifle from King's Fall Raid, which is
Yep.
a really solid pulse rifle. I'd say the only pulse rifle that has a solid advantage over it is the Hawksaw archetype. But even then, the Smiter Moraine, it's really solid. Now you've got the Defiance of Yasmin. Now, since that's been updated to be a res sniping sniper with the new PvP changes and sniper updates with April 12th, that combo is actually really powerful. So for somebody to be playing in the Crucible, not with level advantages enabled, the likelihood of them having those two guns, it's not unreasonable. And then you've got a rocket launcher with clown cartridge. I feel like the odds are probably pretty high that there was somebody who just stumbled upon this. They had two guns that were very, usable and competitive in PvP, and then they had a rocket launcher, even though that's not necessarily the meta for PvP. It is for trials if you have the right role. Maybe they had clown cartridge and, grenade and horseshoes. Who knows? But I think they stumbled upon it. And the thing about this game is so visible, so popular. This community has such an interesting role within the gaming community that when people discover stuff like this, they find a way to make it visible. Even if it's just recording a clip and making a 30-second video posting to YouTube, that crap blows up. They post it to Reddit. It goes viral. Like, I think, and I could be proved wrong, I'd love to be proved wrong, but I think that this is something that got stumbled upon by accident and just took over.
Yeah,
It
the
happened
only
so
thing I have to counter.
fast.
Yeah, the only thing I have to counter that is I have a hard time believing that someone used both of those and had no ammo for them, and then had a year one rocket launcher with clown cartridge. I find that a little bit harder to believe.
That's the other twist. I mean, the rocket launcher with clown cartridge, whatever. People use what they use. You believe it or you don't. It's like the other element of this. This is what makes it so unlikely, is that for this to have actually happened organically, they would have had to have gone on such a killing spree that they completely ran out of ammo in both their Smiter Moraine and their Defiance of Yasmin. So, again, this is very statistically improbable. But then again, think of some of the stuff that's been discovered by this community. Think of the fact that every single DLC spot has been glitched into, with the exception of the Dreadnought, has been glitched into by players just finding stuff. Like, this community is insane with their ability to discover stuff.
Who the frickin'
Whether it's
who jumps into a wall on the reef and then it's just like I'm just gonna jump into this wall and hopefully something happens and discovers that you can get underneath the reef. Like, it's like, were you like depressed that you got a bad roll from an engram and then or got a blue out of a legendary engram and then just jump into a wall and then like, oh dude, look what I just discovered. Oh crap, this is wondrous.
Seriously,
This is awesome.
No,
sometimes
this
it
is what
takes a
I
lot
meant
of
in that
effort
scenario.
to get into that spot. Like,
it does.
Yeah, sometimes.
How do you stumble
here's
in?
the thing I don't know.
Go
But
ahead,
here's
Ezio.
what I'm wondering that. It's like, I got a blue from a purple. I'm gonna kill my... Oh, wow, this is awesome. I still have a blue, though.
You get to the bottom, you're still alive, like, well, God hates me.
All you gotta do is just walk a little to the side and you'll die. There we go. Oh, problem solved.
Yeah, seriously, you take one step away. It's like, yep, there we go. Still got a
Okay,
blue,
no,
though.
I'm dead. Oh wait,
All right.
what just happened?
Okay, let's move on because we've been on
Yep.
that topic for
It's
a
thrilling.
topic on a glitch.
As thrilling as that's
for
been,
how long? How long have we been on that topic?
I'm not gonna divulge that information. You listeners know.
Okay.
But
I do
let's-
want to explain something though. Is don't expect this to just be fixed overnight though, because the process is long to fix bugs. I mean, the bugs found by the community, it goes to the development team, and then they work with the production team and the QA to kind of figure out what's going on and determine what's causing it. Once it's been fully down, it goes to probably the engineering team. that that are going to try and recreate it and try and see how they can resolve it. And then it goes through a bunch of other processes, and at the end, it's they have to check for other bugs that could arise out of this bug, being fixed. And then they've got to patch those, and then once you get to the end, they release it. It goes to the QA team for final testing, and then once they approve it, it goes back, and then you find another bug, and it all happens. Pretty much the process.
And then you find out you can't bring Thorn to the Crucible for some reason.
Exactly. Why doesn't my game work?
It's kind of amazing.
Why can't I bring Thorn?
Oh, this accidental glitch that happened that made Thorn and Fellwinter's Lie inoperable in the Crucible. It's funny though, like if you troll the comments in the Bungie streams, if you look at just any kind of opportunity for the internet to comment on these issues, it's so funny to see the frequency of people saying like, "Come on, Bungo, nerf fire bullets, bro. Come on, fix the game. You suck. You're lazy. Just nerf it. Just fix it. Come on." Number one, assuming that their opinion is correct and well-rounded and sees all the angles, which is very rare and doesn't happen very often, but also like the complexity that it takes. Again, I have to refer everybody to the last episode of the Planet Destiny podcast because they talk a bit about this and they go in depth, relatively in depth into it. Tefty Tef talks a bit about the coding process and how much goes into that. Like, people need to understand that this isn't something that you can just, at least for now, with Destiny 2, we're hoping things are going to be a bit more accelerated with more advanced coding. But Destiny being a game that caters to the previous generation, it's very next gen, but is kind of shackled to the previous generation. And they've also got a divided focus. Like, the fact that Bungie is able to do what they're doing, create what they're creating, and still make these adjustments and these fixes, that's not a sign of their weakness. That's a sign of, like, man, they're able to get a lot done with the resources they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially since they have all their focus on other, Destiny 2, and then what we're going to talk about next, which is what do I want to introduce?
Snap!
Yep,
There's
the
been a
Rise
leak.
of Iron leaks. Yep.
All right. So, what do you guys think about this being a leaked thing? Are you excited? Are you guys excited for the Rise of Iron, which we don't have actually confirmed, but if it's confirmed, what do you guys think?
I'm always excited about the Destiny DLCs because it's
Yeah.
the exhilaration to see like what they're gonna do to bring us back into the game. Because I'll be honest with you, I did a couple podcasts ago, and maybe like 3 or 4 episodes ago, I was like, "Oh yeah, April update! I'm gonna be on Destiny for the next 6 months." And here I am now, and I haven't touched it for the past 2.5 weeks. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna do to bring me back into the game. I've got a lot of confidence in it, but at the same time, it's still 50-50 to see what they're gonna do. It's been rumored to be bigger than Dark Below and House of Wolves, and they haven't said anything about the size to comparison
Taken
to the Taken King. So, we'll see. But I'm excited.
By the way, nobody in the world could have predicted your dissatisfaction or lack of engagement over a long period of time with the April update. Nobody in the planet could have done it.
Nobody.
God, what are the odds?
I like to think that I
But,
can predict my own future. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please refer to episode 5 of the podcast.
Yeah.
Fact.
Anywho, so yeah, we don't need to go too deep into the symbolism and the things that people have extracted in the Rise of Iron DLC. Again, I keep pointing to Planet Destiny. While we're on Destiny, I would like to point to them. I would say that they are the experts combined with Ghost Stories, the podcast. They're the lore experts. Planet Destiny, they're in the community. They're in the trenches. So I don't want to regurgitate stuff that they've said. But I will say this. They presented a lot of speculation on what the DLC could look like. And there's a lot of really exciting potential. And without going in depth on each of the potential ideas, I will say, for me personally, before we get to Destiny 2, this is a huge opportunity for Bungie to prove themselves, because The Taken King was phenomenal compared to the previous 2 DLCs they presented forth, and compared to the phenomenally presented game with gaping holes that was Vanilla Destiny. So The Taken King was a revolution in a lot of areas, and it fixed a lot of gaps in the original game and followed up by the last 2 DLCs, but there's still some serious things that need to be ironed out. No pun intended with the Rise of Iron.
So let's things need to be ironed out. Like another raid that isn't Vex or Taken or whatchamacallit or freaking whatever it is. It needs to be something new, and hopefully it's the Fallen one, which everybody's been predicting. The Hive, that's the other one, Hive.
There's some news on that. There's been at first when this was leaked and everything, the source originally apparently said that the raid was going to be the House of Wolves one that was cut. There's since been a change in that and a correction. The source now apparently says that they were wrong on that, and that the raid is a completely new one that started development last summer, but there's no information about it, so you may still be getting your Cabal raid. I'd prefer Fallen raid, but hey, either one's good.
Do you happen to know what article you read that on, or like where the reference was for that?
I need to look that up again. It was a video on YouTube. It was from...
I would much prefer
More
a Cabal
console.
raid, quite honestly. That's just me.
I would like that for the sake of the lore. Like, I want to learn more about the Cabal.
Absolutely.
I'd rather fight the Fallen, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about this because I was playing Prison of Elders earlier today for the first time in a week and a half, and I was in the Cabal room and I was thinking, like, what's the potential for a boss here? Well, for a raid boss, you got a tank. We've done that in a strike. You got a massive Cabal dude. Well, we've got that in several different strikes. It's like I'm trying to think of like what the Cabal could present that would be an interesting raid mechanic.
It would have to be an entirely new enemy if they wanted to do something interesting, or if they wanted to be just kind of, I guess, easy. That's not probably the right word, but I'm going to go with it. Would be just the tank or the big guy. I feel like the Fallen have more of an option for that, because they have much more variety in their ranks.
Well, here's the thing, though. Between the Fallen and the Cabal, we know more about the Fallen. With the base game and the amount of interaction we have with the Fallen, additionally with the House of Wolves, how much more lore we got from that. Like, we know more about the Fallen. We've got Skolas, we've got Taniks, we've got Varix, we've got a lot of grimoire surrounding their culture, the Fallen associated with the Traveler. We know a lot about the Fallen. We know very little about the Cabal, and this is kind of me playing devil's advocate to my own thought. It's basically like the Cabal have more of an opportunity to surprise us because we know so little about them.
I feel like there's evidence that could lead to either Fallen or Cabal. If you look at the picture and everything, it shows the wall guarding the last city, and that's on Earth. So, and one of the major enemies that's on Earth is the Fallen. So it kind of points toward them. But on the other hand, there's that mission on the Dreadnought that talks about the Cabal command. That could also be hinting at a Cabal expansion. So I feel like there's evidence that can point to either one.
So I literally have to get on my hands and knees at the front of frickin' Bungie headquarters and like just kiss their sidewalk just so they'll make a Cabal raid, because I'm willing to do that.
Okay, is the only reason you want a Cabal raid because we haven't had anything new with the Cabal, or was there some other underlying reason with it?
There's two reasons.
I like the Cabal. I think they're an interesting species, and I don't know enough about them. I honestly don't, and I want to learn more. And I quite honestly like if I want to face like a Cabal boss or something like that, I've got to go into a strike or into the Prison of Elders. Like, I want to do a raid that's around them. I think fighting the Cabal is they're a pain in the butt to fight. Let's go. The Taken Phalanxes are a pain in the butt, but just in general, just the phalanxes, just normal phalanxes, those shields still frustrate me. I think they could do something different with it, and I think that's what Bungie needs to do with Destiny right now, is something different. It's been so similar of expansions. Just there's been real no comparison except for the storyline. I want to see something different. I mean, the Taken was obviously completely new, which is understandable, but like
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to see something Cabal. It'd be
By the
different.
way,
Yeah.
as you were real fast, as you were talking about that, I kind of thought of what a Cabal raid boss could be. The Cabal is themed after the Roman Empire, so what if they made a semi-large Cabal, but instead with like a sort of Legionnaire sword with a shield or something of the sort?
I like that.
It just kind of popped up in my head just then.
It
It could
sounds
be
like you're
interesting.
combining Destiny with Dark Souls,
It
and it sounds terrifying
What
and
if
does.
awesome.
I don't
It
want
does
to
sound
what
think
if they
about
terrifying.
that.
didn't even do like a cabal, or what if they just like mashed them together into one raid?
I would love that.
The Fallen and the Cabal.
Yeah,
That'd be
I mean, what if they
interesting.
opened up a whole other like
That would be kind of interesting.
storyline with it? And
I mean, we have. I mean, from what I remember, there's no hostility between them, is there?
I don't know.
Cabal and the
I mean, the
Fallen.
cabal did
Yeah.
like crash into the dreadnought. What if they decided to crash into Earth and
Well,
wreak some havoc?
speaking as a non-expert, the Fallen want to be reignited with the fall of the the Traveler's Light. They want to get back into their own golden age with their community, their people. The Cabal, they
Civilization.
want to conquer. Yeah,
Yeah,
civilization. That's the word. The Cabal want to conquer. Um, they are a very kind of like alpha masculine. They want to conquer and take over. So I feel like putting them in the same situation, their motivations are so different. There's no reason to assume that they'd be allied. There's also no reason to assume they'd be opposing
Enemies.
one another. But
Yeah.
with the Cabal, the only reason they'd come to Earth, like looking at the picture. So we got Lord Saladin defending the wall, which either he broke through or has already been broke through. If the Cabal is invading, the Fallen are trying to get to the Traveler, and if the Cabal are invading and the humans are defending the Traveler, the Fallen would ally with the humans. There's more complexity here, so it's really
yeah,
tough to say.
that
Yep.
would be so cool if you got to like ally with the Fallen though, because then we
Yeah.
probably get into even more insight into
Yeah,
their culture and
Yeah.
everything, which would be awesome.
Okay. I'm kind of want that now. I kind of want it to be combined Cabal and Fallen now.
I like that.
dude. Well, we'll know more once we get to E3 next month. So
Yeah.
let's move on for the sake of time because we don't want to keep people for too long.
Yep.
So there's one last thing we're going to talk about on Destiny before we move on, and that's the fact that apparently, and this is based on an article written by Kotaku, is that Destiny 2, which we all knew, at least a lot of us knew, was already in development before the launch of Destiny Vanilla. So they already had the game starting to be produced. They were looking forward to the future. Destiny launched, and they've been constantly revising the game based on player feedback and things they discovered. But here's a huge thing: is in January, according to Kotaku, Destiny 2 got rebooted. In that, the leadership of the Taken King team, Luke Smith, is now taking charge over development. Now, what do you guys think about that?
I think it's great, quite honestly. I mean, he revolutionized Destiny and the Taken King. Introduced the light level, which I thought was amazing. Introduced this so much content that we just were not used to seeing in Destiny, and he brought it from a standstill game to where everybody was constantly criticizing it year one, and then once the Taken King came out, maybe converted like 75% of the community to just start loving the game again. And it wasn't even just loving the game again. It was making a new game. Essentially, is basically what he did. Is he built a new game and just threw it into Destiny, and then it's just I don't know. I thought that was amazing. I'd like to see what he's going to do with the Rise of Iron.
You mean Destiny 2?
Destiny 2. Yeah, sorry. Wow. Sorry. It's getting late. Okay.
Yeah, plus you've been all amped up on Game of Thrones, so the Rise of Iron,
Yep,
it seems
Yep.
synonymous. It's
Yes.
it's
Yep.
tough to
just a
separate.
little bit. Yeah,
Yep.
But yeah, I agree. Luke Smith being in charge and his team with Destiny 2, I feel like he'll be in a good place.
To be fair, I think if Luke Smith were to listen to this podcast, he'd be cringing because he's a very humble guy and he recognizes that everything that the Taken King produced was done because of the phenomenal team that he had around him. Like the people at Bungie are amazing, but I think what you guys are getting at and what I think I don't think Luke Smith will ever hear this, but if he does, I think the brilliance of what he brought to the table is he's able to direct those skill sets and those large groups of people in a direction, and it happened to be his creative direction in such a way that focused on the gamer, focused on creativity, focused on innovation, and focused on taking something that already had so much potential and reaching that maximum potential. So I just wanted to mention that again. He would probably not like all of it being pushed on him. But the fact that he's in charge as a leadership role, there is so much talent at Bungie. Phenomenal talent. Probably like some of the best in the industry is at Bungie right now. But that creative intent, if you got 500 people working in a company and everybody's trying to pull the final product in their own creative direction, you've got chaos. You've got a terrible product. You've got some reference to that in Destiny Vanilla. But then you got somebody like Luke Smith who's got a passion, he's got a vision, and he pulls people together. And I'm very excited to see what the next DLC is going to produce with Luke Smith at the helm and the
You
talented team
mean
at Bungie.
Destiny 2?
No, I mean, well,
Is he
okay,
heading
yes,
Rise
I
of
do mean that.
Iron?
No, you're right. I do mean Destiny 2, but at the same time, I don't know the inner workings at Bungie, but all I know is there's been a lot of tumult, there's been a lot of turnover, there's been stuff happening, there's been conspiracy theories, there's been tinfoil hats. But what I do know is that Luke Smith has produced some pretty awesome content when he's at the head of the wheel, even though he's produced some pretty crappy interviews that maybe have produced some publicity.
Much controversy. We know which ones those were. And quite honestly, the fact that he basically reinvented Destiny in Taken King and is now developing Destiny 2, which is essentially just going to be a whole new game and a whole new version of Destiny, speaks a lot that he managed to do that in just an expansion. So if he can do that and have his team do that much more in Destiny 2, I think we're going to be looking forward to something that's going to be that's just going to blow our minds, quite honestly.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to be epic. And I love watching Luke Smith in interviews on YouTube. He may not love the fact that we watch him on YouTube because he's made some mistakes, but man, the thing I love, Luke, I'm gonna tweet out at you and mention you. I hope you see this one day, but the thing I love about you is your honesty. The fact that you're just upfront, and the thing that holds you back is, Bungie and Activision, your contracts, you gotta keep things hidden back, and you do a good job of that. But I do love your openness. So thank you for being you, Luke Smith, and thank you for being so awesome at creating Destiny content, or rather, leading a team to create Destiny content.
And thank you for making the community fight against each other sometimes because it's quite funny and hilarious and add some comedy. Because quite honestly, I love seeing people on Reddit go back and forth with each other about you. I really, if you do hear this, I have mad respect for you, man.
I'm withholding a joke about throwing tomahawks at the screen. I'm gonna put that in my pocket and save it for later.
Make sure my tomahawk clip goes in this podcast. That was amazing.
Oh, yes. Oh, such a good clip.
Yes.
Groot, I will find a way. I'm gonna edit that in somehow.
Thank you.
But let's move on. We're actually making good time with the rest of the conversation we have. But let's move on. We've got something that happened that is actually pretty cool in the gaming community, and that's the fact that Call of Duty has been made backwards compatible. There's a lot of games we're waiting on and excited for that have not been.
Real fast, which Call of Duty?
I'm sorry, that's Black Ops Uno. Call of Duty Black Ops Uno has been made backwards compatible, and people are pretty stoked on it. Groot, could you give me a statistic on how stoked people are on this particular game?
Oh my! Just the fact that sales rose from over 13,000% of what they were prior at its former sales rate, the day prior or the month prior. Just that 13,000% increase. And also, let me point out, it started having, I think somebody told me that it had more people on Black Ops 1 than there was on Black Ops 3 at one point.
Yeah, I think
I
that was
re-
either Panda or Zap, or it was one of those two. I think they were saying it.
I quite honestly, like, I saw 80,000 people online at one point, and I think this is great because I'm a personal big fan of COD the way it was back in the day. I hate the jump packs and the wall walking. No offense to the people who enjoy those, because I'm sure there's people out there who enjoy it. But
Weirdos.
yeah, weirdos. But no disrespect, but I thoroughly enjoy actually being able to stay on the ground and shoot people without wondering where this guy teleported to, quite honestly. So I think it brings a lot of the original day enjoyment back out of COD, quite honestly. And I'm loving it. And that's why I think that the sales went up, why the popularity went up, and quite honestly, it was a good judgment call on whoever decided to do that. Absolutely amazing.
Okay, I actually have to interject, and I thought of something, and this is I have to present a question to the entire podcast here. Ezio, Groot, and Queen Toast. If so, Doom came out recently, the new Doom game,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
it came with. I haven't actually bought it, but from what I've heard, it comes with the original game, or at least a modified version of the original game.
I'm gonna go ahead and mention that if it does, then I have not received it because I have the game and I haven't gotten that.
Okay, well, I've heard from one person that it does. So
Okay.
I'm gonna verify that. But here's a thought experiment. If you knew that a brand new game of Doom came out and it's state-of-the-art graphics, state-of-the-art everything, new game engine, and it also released with the original game and its crappy PC graphics, would you expect that more people would be playing the original game than playing the new game at any given moment?
Yeah, I
Nah.
mean,
Well, we're talking about different games here.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. However, just follow the thought experiment. Just answer the question.
I don't have an answer because I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, reiterate the question.
Yeah,
So
please.
you got the brand new Doom game, and then it comes with the original game that's really crappy graphics. It's the game that kind of spawned shooters. It's like the game that really made shooters popular before they actually became popular and put them on the radar. So you've got the original game, which is nostalgic for some, but it's really low quality, and you're pretty much only playing it for nostalgia. And then you've got this brand new game. It's the same people, it's the same namesake, it's the same kind of archetype of the kind of the scenery, the aesthetics of the shooter, but it's much more modern. Now, if both of those games got released together, would you expect that more people would be playing the new game or the old rendition of it from like 10
Okay.
years ago?
So I think it depends on the game, quite honestly, because
Yep.
there's people like me, for instance, who I'm going to use the Infinite Warfare bundle as a kind of like a as an example. So
Yeah.
I come from a heavy Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare background. That was like my stuff back in the day. That's the game that I enjoy the most, along with Halo. That's all I played. But then you've got people who never used to play that are going to probably want to play Infinite Warfare more than that. So I think it depends. You're talking about new versus how many new people there are, and then how many old people there are, kind of as a statistic. So it's hard to say because, quite honestly, I mean, it could go either way with when Infinite Warfare comes out. Because I mean, more people could play Infinite Warfare, but at the same time, there's that nostalgia and the gameplay that people enjoy about Call of Duty 4 that could go back to that. From what we've seen now, and what I think we'll see in the future is a prime example of what the community wants, realistically speaking, which is releasing backwards compatible games that we had prior on the Xbox 360. From what we've seen, the sales, the spike in activity on Black Ops is a prime example of what the future of gaming is going to be. If you bring back the
Fast.
games that people enjoy, I think it's going to bring much more popularity to not only those developers but the future games itself.
Let me clarify that I agree with you. This is a whole new question that just kind of I realized just now as we're talking about is this kind of paints a picture. And if we look at Call of Duty is the archetype of this question I'm about to pose. So we've got this ever evolving system of game development. You've got especially Call of Duty and Battlefield have kind of been the front runners of realistic first person shooters. And Call of Duty in particular has tried to be as innovative as possible, which is respectable. It's expected. It's desired. We want them to innovate. We don't want the same game over the last, 10 years. But it's gone more and more futuristic. And the fact that Black Ops 1 with its like prior to the jump packs and the like all the abilities that come with the new gameplay with Black Ops 3, it goes back to the basics and the sales have jumped phenomenally. And then you've got an Infinite Warfare and it's the most universally unliked YouTube video in gaming compared okay, that's probably not true. There's probably
It
something out
is.
there.
Nope, it's true. Of all game
Seriously?
videos, that's the most disliked. It's the
It's
fourth.
the most disliked, but proportionately. I mean, there's got to be something out there that's like
It's
more
here.
likes
This
than
is up.
or
This is
dislikes
a,
than
this is
likes.
the update. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is the fourth most disliked YouTube video of all time.
Yeah, I mean it's that
Not
that's
of gaming, of
that
all time.
that's saying something. Like this is the thing we have to look at is Activision knows the game. Activision, I know you're probably not listening to this, but I'm infamous on this podcast for calling you guys out, and I'm doing it again. You guys can play the game, and you are playing a game here. You know, people, the majority of the crowd does not want your futuristic stuff going on. It's a fact based upon what we've seen with these YouTube videos, these dislikes, and everything of that sort. So what you did is manipulated people. You packaged a Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and then said the only way you're going to be able to get this is if you buy both games. And that is how you're going to get your sales. You guys are geniuses for doing that, but evil at the same time, in my opinion. So, I mean,
That's
that's
that
to me
that's a
that's
very that's a very violent attack. I get what you're saying, and let me just clarify. I think you're right. You're 100% right. But the beauty of the situation is that this is a temporary patch
yeah.
because this is going to work this one time. This isn't going to work the next time with the next Call of Duty game. The only way Activision is going to save the Call of Duty series is if they actually start not listening to the numbers of what people are buying because the numbers kind of lie to the culture of gaming. Let me put it this way. The way that the people that have the biggest voice in gaming, they're predicting the future of gaming. So if you look at all the podcasters, the YouTubers, they're addressing the concerns and issues, and there may be the global majority that like blindly purchases games, but eventually they catch on to what the podcasters and the YouTubers and the global community starts adapting to. They might be a bit behind. They might buy Infinite Warfare, but eventually the actual culture of the gaming community is going to catch up and their sales are going to dip. This is, again, like you said, Groot, a brilliant maneuver to get the same amount of sales as they have in previous games because they're baiting us with something that we actually want, but we have to buy something that we kind of don't really actually want to get it. But this is the last time that's going to work unless they start listening to the gaming community as a whole and not the numbers, because the numbers are lagging behind.
And quite honestly, this is something that I want to point out. It's a little away from what we're talking about, but it does relate. Is Dice presented the Battlefield 1, the idea of Battlefield 1 to EA, and then EA laughed at them. And then Dice backed it up with how many people actually wanted to see a World War One style game. And then EA did it. That's saying something. That's EA listening to these devs, is listening to Dice. And then Dice listening to us. And more devs more big name developers need to listen to that, because Dice is quote unquote, not quote unquote, but more or less quote unquote, has said if the community wants it, we'll try to do it.
All right. I think uh, we may have talked a bit to death about everything but Black Ops One.
Hmm.
You know,
So
you're right. It's
you're right.
it's all good talk, but for
Yeah.
the sake of the time and the respecting the time of the people listening to the podcast, we should move on. Um, we do have one thing that's really awesome, and I think the extent of the awesomeness of this is going to take some time to expand. Not too much time, but Halo Forge mode for Halo 5 is now being available on Windows. And for people that don't necessarily know why that's actually news or why that matters or why that's significant, I would like to give the mic to Groot to kind of break down why that's not been a thing and why that's pretty cool and what that can mean for the future.
Okay,
Oh,
so as we know, Microsoft lately has been trying to connect the Xbox One and the Windows 10 with each other, integrating it in different ways that we've never seen before. Which is something very interesting to see what they can do with it. So now the big thing that they're doing is trying to integrate the Halo 4, as they're saying, Halo 5 Forge tools on PC. And then what you'll be able to do after that is be able to test out a custom game with friends across Xbox Live on it as well. There will be no matchmaking support. But the really cool thing about this is we're seeing the different kinds of connections that games can make via different operating systems and different platforms. The fact that we're going to be able to do Forge with a mouse and keyboard kind of just creates endless possibilities for different shortcuts that you want to create, more flexibility on what you can do because there's only so much you can do with a controller. You're limited to two toggle switches, one D-pad, four buttons, two triggers, and two bumpers. There's only so much you can do, but when you have a keyboard, you're open up to more possibilities, such like that. So the fact that they're making that connection and that integration between PC and Xbox One, or I should say Windows 10 and Xbox One, is really cool because that's something that we've never seen done before, and it's going to add who knows what to future games in the coming future. I just want to add to just don't expect Halo 5 to come out on the PC. Not going to happen. Don't see that coming because it's just not going to happen. But the fact that they're doing this it's just awesome.
Groot, I'm sorry. Are you trying to call PC the master race? What are you
Yeah.
doing here, man?
All right.
Is that beneficial to be on a PC editing Halo maps?
Okay,
Come on.
this is what I will say is yes, we're getting 4K resolution inside of this. But
Ooh.
there let's face it, the hardware on PCs is much more capable of doing anything than an Xbox One or a PS4 can do because you're limited to the hardware on the Xbox One and the PS4. But with your own computer, I mean, you can get whatever hardware you want, you can set up whatever graphics you want. Everything is just that much more realistic and to me much more enjoyable on a PC for gaming. There's endless possibilities. The game selection, the graphics are 10 times better, and the fact that you can. I mean, I'm a big mouse and keyboard guy, and the fact that I can use my mouse and keyboard to play games is something that I would prefer to have on the Xbox One, but I'm not going to complain. But yeah, I mean, PC has always been the master race in terms of that. Maybe not in terms of popularity, but it's master race.
Wii U Master Race.
Oh
That
my
one
gosh.
guy,
Super
that
Mario
one
Maker.
guy,
What?
and it's Ezio, that one person that enjoys the Wii U more than anything else.
God, dude,
Uh,
I honestly want to buy it just because of Game Grumps and just because of Super Mario Maker.
I have a Wii U, and I'm sad that I haven't gotten Super Mario Maker. I've been distracted by a bunch of other shit going on, so that's on my list to get.
Yeah, just to give a few details, don't expect it's being called Forge Halo 5 Guardians Edition, so don't expect it to come out anytime soon. They're saying it's going to launch later this year. No official release date. Yeah, you can create maps and different game modes on the computer and then publish them to Xbox One. So, and you get that support for 4K resolution, so it's pretty cool.
All right, to be honest, I've never, since I got into shooters, I've always been console. Started with Xbox playing Halo 2, Halo 3, Modern Warfare 2, and pretty much that up until Destiny, it's always been console. So I've heard a lot about, for competitive shooters, PC's the way to go because you have much more fine tuning for just the twitch movement. It's like PCs are better. If you have the right PC, it excels beyond an Xbox or a PlayStation. And I respect that. I agree with that. And I kind of wish that I had a PC that could compete with that. In fact, I was earlier today watching Holtzman's last stream playing World of Warcraft, and he kind of flippantly mentioned that he's playing on the max settings. And I'm like, I have never been able to play World of Warcraft on the max settings.
Never been able to play a game at the max settings in general.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to play a game without getting booted to orbit with a weasel error. But the point is, it really comes down. I think honestly, man, like with PC, you do have an advantage in terms of hardware. With console, and there's probably going to be professional players on PC that disagree with me. But for me personally, having grown up, been born and raised, and spent so many hours on console, having joysticks and buttons, I've tried to play PC, and it's so hard to get that same fluency and that same just muscle memory. But with the joysticks, especially, I got my Xbox Elite controller with the paddles, with the adjustable joysticks. I got the rounded left joystick, the elevated right joystick. I've got the paddles. Trying to translate that to a PC, it's rough, man.
Everything you say about PC and Xbox One, I can combat with something. I guarantee it. Just like your controller, just get the wireless. Just get the wireless game receiver. You can use it on your computer for any game you want.
As much as that argument would be kind of interesting to some people, I don't think we have time for a 2-hour debate.
No, you're right. We don't want to go into it.
Use the controller on the PC. Use the controller on the PC.
I did want to present that I absolutely hate
on the PC.
I hate Groot for everything that he stands for, and I'm gonna stab him in the gut. But
the exact opposite is what people think about you. Okay.
Wait, so they want to take a knife out of my gut? Is what you're saying?
No,
I think that's what he's saying.
You know what? I hate you. I hope everybody else hates you too.
All right, Ezio's right though. We got to move on. So the next thing we got to talk about. Ooh, we're getting towards the end of the podcast, and this is kind of where we're the most excited about.
Yeah.
So, just to clarify for the listeners, we're going to be talking about games that we've been playing recently. Me and Ezio have been playing one game in particular, and Groot and Toast have been playing one game in particular. We're going to talk about each of those, but before we jump into that, we have one bit of news to discuss, and that's Dark Souls 3. Ezio, tell us about it.
Well, just recently, the latest patch, 1.07, just went onto the game. Not too many changes, but one on the patch notes that everyone's been waiting for is improved matching of two covenants, that being the Blaze of the Dark Moon and the Blue Sentinels. Everyone's been begging for this because those covenants are broken. You could be sitting there for hours, literally doing nothing with that covenant online and not be summoned. So I tried this before the patch, by the way, and yeah, I never got summoned. I sat there for a few hours. I went up to go do something. I came back, didn't get summoned. I even left it on and went to work one time and came back like 4 hours later to lunch, and I wasn't summoned. But now the patch is here. You want to know how well it improved?
How well?
I'll tell you when I get summoned. I've been sitting waiting to be summoned this whole podcast. This entire podcast, I've been sitting here in this one area on Dark Souls 3 waiting to be summoned, and nope.
Before we continue, if you're listening to this podcast and you're not a Dark Souls fan, you've probably heard Ezio talk about Dark Souls in the past. And prior to recently, I have not been a Dark Souls player. So you've been hearing Ezio rant about Dark Souls. If it's gibberish to you, if this makes no sense, if you're not that stoked on Dark Souls, please leave a comment just raging against me and Ezio for talking about Dark Souls. I honestly, seriously,
we're with you guys. Toast and I are with you guys.
Yeah, can I leave a
Do it.
comment on my own
No,
podcast?
okay. I'm gonna.
Just kidding.
Everybody watching this who plays Dark Souls 3, please become a Way of the Blue so I can get friggin' summoned. I want these things so I can rank up my Blazing Dark Moon. Damn it.
Bro, dude, if our experience in the last 7 days has taught you anything, it does not matter what the okay. Let's jump into this. So that's the Dark Souls 3 update. The last thing we're going to talk about before we wrap up this podcast is kind of games we've been playing since our last episode. And for me and Ezio, which we're going to jump into first, Ezio had bought Dark Souls 3 on the Xbox, and it came with a code for Dark Souls 1. And if anyone has been listening to the podcast up until this point, Ezio has been the Dark Souls fanatic, and none of us have really played it. Queen Toast had played the first boss, got a taste of it, but Ezio's the only one that really dove deep into it and was a fanatic. But he got the code for Dark Souls 1, and he's like, anybody want it? I'm like, you know what? I'm enough of a masochist. I'm going to try it out. And I accepted that code, and I've been playing Dark Souls 1. And I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I've been sick the last, as of now,
9 days, I think you said.
Yeah, well, we're recording on a Sunday. It started Friday. It didn't really kick until Saturday. So it's been about 8 days. 8 days of me being so sick that I haven't worked in 5 days. And in those 5 days, I've played about 100 hours of Dark Souls 1. It's been gnarly. Seriously, it's been hectic, man.
He already has a second character.
Okay, so check this out. Originally, I'm a Destiny player. Destiny has become my go-to game. I'm a first-person shooter player. I love tactics, I love strategy, I love gunplay, I love analyzing the perks of guns. Like, if you listen to me on the podcast, if you meet me in person, you know I'm an analytical SOB, and I love first-person shooters and gun skill for that. I watched Ezio play Dark Souls, and actually it started with Bloodborne. I watched him playing Bloodborne, and I just wasn't sure I was going to like it. I watched him play, I looked at the aesthetics, and I'm like, I know that you love it, I know that you enjoy it, I'm sure it's really cool, but I don't think it's for me. Then came Dark Souls, and he's like, hey, I got this code. And I'm like, you know what? I might as well. I mean, I'm not super hooked on Destiny right now. I'm basically playing for Trials alone. I'll try it out. And I plugged that in, I downloaded that game, and it perfectly timed with me getting sick. Holy crap. I got sick. I'm stuck at home. I can't go to work. And I am playing nothing but Dark Souls. And this game hooked me so freaking hard. If you listen to the last episode of the podcast, you hear me talk about the first boss encounter. Oh, God, dude.
He's in New Game Plus already.
Can I
he's
add
at Ornstein and Smo.
Can I add some stuff about Dark Souls?
Yes, please, bring it in.
So I'm gonna get a lot of hate from Dark Souls players for this. Probably you guys too, but I need to say it on my behalf. I don't enjoy Dark. I haven't played it yet, so I can't.
You haven't even played it.
I don't enjoy
what are you
it.
talking about?
From the gameplay that I've watched and stuff like that, it's just not the game for me. And let me give you some background. I enjoy medieval history. I enjoy medieval weapons, which this obviously closely relates to with your hand-to-hand combat. I enjoy tactical stuff. I am a big fan of the Total War games, Age of Empires. Those are tactical. Those need a lot of strategy based upon them. So I'm not against games like this, but for me, I like making progression, really good progression within the hour of playing the game. And I feel like if I play Dark Souls, knowing me, I'd probably be stuck at the first boss for 5 or 6 hours, trying to get it.
Which one, the tutorial boss or the take off the kitty gloves boss?
No, knowing me, probably the tutorial boss. Not gonna lie. So
that tutorial boss is a bitch. You can get him.
So for me, I love games like Skyrim, Oblivion, and all the games that I previously mentioned, and all those games that I mentioned do have similarities to Dark Souls. So normally, I probably would supposed to be, liking this game. But for me, I don't know. I just don't have. It doesn't. I like having fast action-paced games, and I feel like this isn't fast enough for me. And it's just. And there's nothing. I've got nothing wrong with the people who do enjoy the game because I think it's quite honestly a beautiful game, and I think it's got great gameplay in it for the audience that it targets. But for me, I don't see the point in me not I don't see not see the point, but it's just like I don't know. I just don't think I'd enjoy playing the game as much as other people do.
No,
I'm
Ezio, I
with
know
you.
you want to comment. Am
I'm
I
about to.
in the same? Here's the thing. I feel like we're part of a cult right now, trying to like. It's one of those weird things, man. Because let me be fair. When I talked to you before the podcast, I was more in line with this might not be the game for you.
Hmm.
But having you describe that like the games that you enjoyed and the things you did not like about this game, I think that if you actually played the game and played it through, at least like enough to learn how the game is played, I think that everything that you loved about Oblivion, everything that you loved about just all of those RPG games in a traditional, you know,
Do you
I'm
want me
losing the
to have a
term.
drinking problem? Is that what you're trying to
Let
tell
me
me?
real fast. Let me comment this. I want everyone to remember what Groot said about the game because me and AP are gonna make him play the game sometime this week. He has it downloaded, and I want you to remember what he says because
It's a
there's a
long
fifty
story
percent
about that.
chance that there's 50% chance that next podcast he's gonna be like, "Oh God, I love Dark Souls now."
And I'm
Well,
still gonna be hating on it.
Continue.
And I'm probably going to be along with Emma on
I'm
that.
I'm
Or,
I'm converting you.
toast. Cut that
Jeez,
out. Cut
Who's
that out.
Emma?
you people are so
What?
bad with this.
you know,
Keep it
Ezio's
in. We're
coming.
keeping it
I
in.
didn't even realize I said that until I saw it in the chat. That's okay.
And
Look,
I was the one who pointed it out to you, and I just said it. Oh wow.
you are. That's dude. Freud
We're
was
keeping
right,
it.
man. No, it's
We're
okay.
keeping it in.
Ladies, gentlemen, listeners of the podcast, we are imperfect, and the fact that you know our first names, we're not offended. Hello, welcome to the podcast. Have
Please
fun.
don't hurt me.
Have
Please
fun.
don't
We're
hurt
planning
me.
on addicting everyone in the world to Dark Souls. So you're next.
Oh my God, seriously, Groot, when you play it, I'm telling you, man. Like, so conversation I had with Groot earlier today, and we do need to move on, but I want to say this. I had a conversation with Groot earlier today, and he's commenting on watching because he didn't get a chance to play it before the podcast. He's commenting on watching gameplay. He's like, "This might not be the game for me. I don't think this is the game for me." That's exactly what I felt. Ezio, did I not tell you the exact
Yeah.
same thing?
You
when I
watched
you playing
gameplay. You were
Bloodborne?
like,
I watched you playing Bloodborne, and I watched you playing Dark Souls 3, and I'm like, there's things I like about it. I'm being super objective. I'm thinking like, I'm looking at it. It seems kind of interesting. I like certain things about it, but there's a lot I don't like about it. I don't like the aesthetics. I don't like the emotional vibe of the environment. And then he gives me the code, and I start playing it, and I jump into the tutorial for Dark Souls 1. And the reason that people play it, the reason that, in fact, I think we brought this up before. I don't know if we have the number on hand, but Dark Souls 3 had a pretty phenomenal rating in terms of purchases. Like, it made a lot of sales. It's like at the top of the list.
best selling game of May this year.
Exactly. So the point I'm trying to make is this is not a niche game. Like, it kind of is in a way, but at the same time, I feel like the essence of Dark Souls captures what gamers are wanting nowadays. Now, let me actually, I don't want to go too deep into this, but let me paint this picture. What gaming as a whole has become in the last 5 years or so has been we're catering to the casual audience, we're toning down the difficulty so that it's accessible to more people. We don't want to cater to the extreme gamers, we want to sell it to as many people as possible, so we're making it accessible to casuals. So they tone down the mechanics, make it accessible so more people can buy it. Dark Souls does not do that, but it's also not unnecessarily punishing. It brings back the essence of gaming, which is you're there to play a game, to have a challenge, to force you to adapt, but it's also fair. if you make mistakes and if you fail, it's because you either had a lack of information, which you can discover throughout the game, or you have a lack of muscle memory, which you can just develop through repetition. And that's what really impresses me about Dark Souls.
Yep.
I don't know. Toast, do me a favor. Take note. Not gonna happen.
Let me tell you one
All
thing
right.
before you say that. Watching Dark Souls and playing Dark Souls are two entirely different things.
I'd have to back that up, yeah.
Same with every other game. There's been
No.
games that I've seen stuff on where I'm like,
Well,
I don't like
it's
the
not that
gameplay for that. And
it's
then
not
I'll play the game, and then I'll
it's
think it's amazing.
it's not that I've never played Dark Souls before, because I had. I used to. Old buddy of mine back in the day used to have Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2. And I tried out Dark Souls 1, just it was in the middle of the game and stuff like that. I don't know. Back then it was maybe like 5 years ago. I just didn't enjoy it then. I just saw no interest in it. I mean, it's possible. I'm open to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm open to seeing what I can, what it'll reflect on me, from then versus now. But I don't know if it's. I still feel the same way about it.
Hey, Groot. So what I'm going to do is you've never read Harry Potter before. What I'm going to do is you're going to jump into the first book after Harry has already been put into the Gryffindor category. He's in that group. You don't know anything about the story leading up to this point, but now Harry Potter is in Gryffindor, and the story progresses.
Wow, thanks for ruining the storyline for me. I've never seen Harry Potter before.
Don't make me digitally kick you in the balls.
Just kidding. I've seen Harry Potter before. Gosh.
The point is, and I do not want to spend a lot of time here because we've got to move on, but I just want to say your initial experience, and I don't want to, as a sidebar, I don't want to discount Queen's experience because I do want to give her a chance to talk about her Dark Souls experience. But with you in particular, Groot, you tasted it, like the way you described it, you played it on a friend's account. He was already kind of through the game, and you're getting a taste of like you're trying to absorb the environment, the visuals, the gameplay, but you have no context. You have no introduction, no easing into the level of difficulty. So I think that you need a fresh experience before you can make a final opinion.
Absolutely.
Although I respect that, my first experience with Bloodborne and Dark Souls, I didn't love it. I liked it. I didn't love it. And then when I actually played it from the beginning, I had a different experience. I'd love to see you have that different experience. And maybe we can talk about that next week or at some point when you have that experience. But for now, I do want to hear from Queen Toast, who has played Dark Souls 3, and I do want to kind of know what your experience was like playing the game.
All I remember is just being really angry. Like, that's it.
Yep.
I'm not even kidding.
The tutorial boss of Dark Souls 3 can be pretty rough on new Dark Souls players. That's what's been said on multiple posts.
Yeah. I mean, I went into it knowing that it wouldn't be easy because I had read about that before, like on Reddit or whatever. So I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was like, oh, I can do it probably, it'll be fine. And I tried it like twice, maybe. I don't know. But I've never had very much patience with dying in games anyway. And the fact that I knew that this is what the whole game would be like just turned me off immediately. Because I got really mad that I kept dying. And then I was imagining myself continuing on to play the game and dying that much. And I just didn't want to put myself through that. And I know you guys are going to say, like, oh, well, you just have to get better gear. And, oh, you just have to do this and that.
Oh,
But
no,
I
you
just,
don't. Y'all know you don't even have to get better gear. There's some people who beat the game with, like, nothing but a loincloth and never leveling up.
Okay, well, that's probably because those people put the time in to get the mechanics down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
if I don't even have the initial interest, then I'm not going to beat the game wearing just a loincloth, probably.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the main point is
So,
with
Yeah.
Dark Souls.
I need clarification. Was the player wearing the loincloth, or was the character wearing the loincloth?
I know the character was, but the player might have been.
The answer to your question is yes.
Exactly.
So, I'll wear a loincloth while I play then, or while I try
Go
it.
for it. Go
Yeah.
for it.
Okay.
Going into the first boss, you'd probably want to rather wear a diaper. That might be a better piece of equipment for you.
I'll make sure to take a then and now Snapchat and send it to you guys.
Oh,
Guarantee you'll need to
gosh.
change my diaper 10 times. I'm an extra
Okay.
large, by the way. Just
Jeez.
True.
kidding. I'm a large.
He's a big guy.
I'm
He weighs
tall,
he
not.
weighs he
But
weighs 380 pounds. We're very worried for his health. We've had several interventions, none of which have worked.
I look like a.
But
I'm actually a tree, but that works too.
we know that. We know that already.
He's the
Hey,
original actor that played
guys,
Jabba the Hutt
Beauty
in
comes
the
in all
1980s.
sizes.
But before you get too off track, so Dark Souls is more of like a preference thing. If you like, for example, me and AP, we love this type of thing where where we learn from our mistakes and we come back better for it.
To be fair,
Hmm?
I don't want to oversimplify this. With Toast, the thing that you mentioned, I don't want to go too in depth. Like we could literally have an entire podcast about the intricacies of Dark Souls, which
Yeah.
is so not our MO. But
the dying light.
we're getting there.
We're
Hold
about
on.
to get to there. We're
We're
almost
getting there.
there.
That's next on the agenda. But the point is, like, there's so much intricacies that goes into your experience of Dark Souls 3. Like for me personally, if I jumped into Dark Souls 3, it would have been more frustrating. But the fact that Dark Souls 1, like Dark Souls 1 was very, very good at walking you through step by step each of your abilities, teaching you in a controlled environment, and then it throws you into the first quote unquote boss fight where you're encountered with this massive demon way bigger than anything. If you just YouTube search God, what's his name?
Stray Demon.
Well, it's a stray demon, but
Asylum
there's a,
Demon. Asylum Demon.
Asylum demon. There's a specific playthrough. It's Angry Joe. If you watch Angry Joe playing Dark Souls, it's literally like you get to the point where you get to the first boss, you're like, holy crap, this is obscene. Okay, I'm gonna try and kill it. You can't kill it. That's not the point. There's a message on the screen that says get away. And it's like
Escape, get away, run.
it's like the first boss encounter you have, it's teaching you, if you pay attention to the details, it's teaching you you don't have to engage in every encounter. You can run away. Sometimes there's ways to escape. And I feel like with Dark Souls 3, given that I haven't played it yet, I intend to, but from what I've observed, it's not as it doesn't coach you and guide you as well into the launching of the game. The first boss fight is more intense than the first boss fight of Dark Souls 1, which I think Dark Souls 1 is a perfect preparation for the rest of the game. Ezio, being the Dark Souls expert, do you agree?
They still do the messages on the ground, but they're not as. But yeah, I agree. Dark Souls 1 seems like it does it better with with somewhat easing people into it, while Dark Souls 3 is okay. You either read the messages or you don't. So you're either gonna live or you're gonna die.
Right.
Okay. So we'll see how Dark Souls develops in the future. There may be opportunities for us meaning me and Ezio, to geek about it into the future. But for now, this last section of the podcast, we're kind of talking about games we've been playing. Me and Ezio are talking about Dark Souls, and we got Queen Toast and Groot that have been playing a different game. What have you guys been playing?
Dying light. Better than
Yeah,
Dark
boy.
Souls.
All right.
Shots fired.
Oh.
No, they're two
Hey-o.
completely different games.
Two completely different.
Dying Light is not a new game. I think it's been out for like a little bit over a year now. And I played it when it first came out, and I really liked it. And then I thought, I don't know what got me back into it. I think maybe I saw someone on my friends list playing it or something, and I thought, I remember because I played it solo, but it does give you the opportunity to play 4-player co-op throughout the whole storyline or whatever. And I remember wishing that I had someone to help me because it was actually really scary and difficult at times. So I convinced Tyler here to buy it. And
Tyler.
Yeah, who's Tyler?
Fruit.
We don't make
Yeah,
mistakes here on the podcast.
no, not at all.
We're 100% perfect. Go on.
Yeah, so I convinced Groot to buy it, and yeah. But tell them about your experience, I guess, Groot.
Okay, so first experiences, the environment's beautiful. Beautiful. The fighting mechanics are amazing. My favorite part about it is that the I hated it at first because it kept breaking, but the fact that you can only repair your weapons X amount of
Yeah.
times before they're unusable. So that keeps making you continuously have to keep getting new weapons. So once
Yeah.
you repair this weapon 3 times, for instance, you have to either craft a new one or just find a new weapon lying on the ground. Pretty
Mhm.
much that's what I like about it. In terms of the storyline is phenomenal. I think it's
I agree.
great, but
No
it,
spoilers.
no spoilers. But here's the thing: is there is one downfall to the story. Is it's got 13 missions, which is it may seem like a lot, but in reality, Toast, how long do you think we've been doing the story for now? Maybe like 5 or 6 hours tops
Yeah.
gaming play. It runs through very quickly, and that's the thing is. Quite honestly, I think if you run this at a steady pace, you can probably complete all 13 missions within 6 to 8 hours. Um,
Right.
I see that as a drawback because I think things are happening too fast, and the
Well,
missions are
remember too, I'm starting out at a much higher level and ability with much better weapons, and you actually have much better weapons than I ever had when I was playing. So I
yeah.
think that may be attributing to some of it.
Uh,
Um,
I do agree to that to an extent, but the only thing is I wish they had more information behind the story, like just like
yeah,
more c cinematics and stuff like that. But overall, I mean, it gets you attached to the characters. It
yeah,
develops a really good story. It gives very good background and explanation that's going on, and I think it's great. I mean, we haven't finished it yet, so I'm sure there's extended stuff on the expansions and stuff like that. But just overall, this game is amazing. It's so much fun. I die a lot from jumping off of buildings and
yeah.
failing to grab onto things. So Toast is always
Hey, AP
reviving
does
me.
that in Dark Souls.
Yes,
I've bitten my tongue on several of the things he said. Continue on
so
Dying Light.
I'm dying a lot, but it's fun. I
Yeah.
enjoy that about it. Because it's I like the fact that there's free running
Oh
and
gosh, it's so
it's
smooth.
it's so amazing. It's just awesome. The parkour on it is just amazing. The way it combines action, parkour, and the story just it's just all compiled into one and absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, it was never a game that I'd ever thought about buying until you had told me about it. So I really thank you for that because I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of this game and
Yeah.
more to come with the expansions. It's one of those games that it's not like The Division where once you hit end game, there's nothing to do because the world is just so huge and there's so much to do that I can see it going on for a very long time.
Yeah. I
Are you
agree.
guys talking about No Man's Sky? Did you go
No.
into the future?
Oh.
What?
So
Chill.
I
What?
mean, it's a good game. I mean, I do suggest to anybody who doesn't own it to buy it. SEO, EP, but but it's great and
Yeah.
it's cool. It's fast paced too, and that's what I like about it.
It really immerses you in the world too of
Yeah,
zombies. It
it
does
does.
zombies really well.
It does.
Is it first person and third person?
First
First.
person.
First.
I'm open to it, but I do want to clarify. I am open to it. I'll probably buy it if you guys want to do another playthrough so I can enjoy it with some
Totally.
company. I do want to say Groot almost every single point, with one exception in the parkour, that's the only exception. Everything that you mentioned that you like about Dying Light is something that you will experience in Dark Souls.
Mechanics are different though.
The mechanics are different, but the
much
core, the essence, yeah, the mechanics you figure out. The mechanics is what you learn, but the essence of what you enjoy about the game, and look, you don't have to say anything now, you don't have to form an opinion, but what I'm saying is what I've listened to of what you enjoy about Dying Light and what I've observed from playing Dark Souls, there's a lot of overlap that if you give it a chance, and you don't have to do this now, but if you give it a chance, I do think you're going to enjoy it.
I'm
All right,
open.
can we chill with the Dark Souls circle jerk now, please?
No!
I'm open.
No!
I'm open
Episode
to it.
9!
It's
Dark
not
Souls!
it's not a circle jerk because there's only 2 of them, so it can only be a line jerk.
It's
good.
a
Yeah,
parallel
good.
jerk. It's we're one line, you're the other line, and we're forcibly jerking.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
let's
know
not get
about.
rapey.
Stop.
I don't know about you, but Toast and I are on a cruise doing the locomotion. Okay.
What?
I don't know. Okay. I had to think of something different that not include us
What does that
in
mean?
the parallel circle jerk. Okay.
You know what? You're moving down into the danger zone, and
All of the 13-year-olds listening to this podcast are just, like simultaneously.
I'm currently doing the electric slide.
if you're currently born in the 80s and you resonate with the electric boogaloo, please leave a comment. If you're a 13-year-old and you're listening to the sexual innuendo, please leave a comment. If you're everyone else,
and don't charge us for the therapy.
Gosh.
Anywho, I'm double checking the schedule. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the 9th episode of the Super Fun Podcast. If you have made it this far, I will say this. Number one, kudos to you. You must find us at least mildly entertaining to listen this long. Number two, please check us out. We have a website, which is pretty phenomenal. It's www.q, there's no Q, I'm kidding, .thesuperfunpeople.com. And we also have a Twitter, which we are looking forward to hearing you tweet us random thoughts, statements, questions, and comments, which is at SuperFunPeople. Please hit us up. We look forward to hearing from you. And we're going to be back next week with some more gaming, some more information, and